of activity going on in the chat. How's it going, everyone? Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Sorry about our gorilla there. He was supposed to be done by 2 setting up, but he was running a little behind.
Good deal. Looks like we got people from all over the country joining in. Geez, I might get stage fright. This is a lot of people.
Here.
There's a lot of people for joining for this.
This is good.
Apologize if you guys hear any sirens coming by. Our office is downtown. It always stays eventful down here, so any disruptions like that, we'll go ahead and apologize for prematurely here.
Penny says we need more gorilla. We may have to bring him back in.
Might have to have another gorilla cameo before we get kicked off here. Well, cool. We'll give people a little bit more time to just kind of filter in here. So we love seeing where all of our users are from. In case you're not familiar with us, we are based here in Lexington, Kentucky, so horse racing capital of the world. We also got a pretty decent basketball team going on right now too. So love seeing all you guys joining in from all parts of the country.
A lot of Texas.
Texas is definitely big.
We have a Lexington person. Lee.
Hey, there we go. Awesome.
All right, guys, we'll give it about 2 more minutes, and then we'll kick it off.
Rock and roll. And as you guys have probably heard, we are giving away some lead credit on this live stream, so we'll be giving that away here shortly, but make sure you stay on the entire live stream as we're going to be giving away 2 $100 lead credits. So be sure to stay active in the chat. We'll let you know when that's coming up so that you have your opportunity to get some lead credit and get yourself off on the right foot on the Leadrilla platform. So I already see some. Heck yeah, lead credit. Everyone loves the lead credit. Trust me, we know. I guess some other housekeeping stuff just to go over while people are coming in here. You guys are already taking great advantage of the chat. Continue to do that throughout the entire live stream here. If you have questions throughout anything, feel free to just throw those in there. We'll answer those the best we can as we're going through it. We'll have plenty of time at the end to answer those. And if for whatever reason we run out of time and don't get to answer everyone's questions, we'll be going back through and having our support team reach out and answer those questions as well. And speaking of our support team, if you guys need anything from us at any time while you're using the Leadrilla platform, we've got a couple different ways you can get a hold of us. Our support email is hello@leadrilla.com. You can also reach us directly on the platform. We've got a live chat feature. Yes, that connects to a real person. It's not a chat bot, so you can chat with our support team directly. There's a little chat feature down at the very bottom right-hand corner of the platform, so I'll make sure to call that out as well once we actually dive into this live demo.
Cool. Well, there's a lot of people in here. There's still more joining, but we'll go ahead and get started. Like Logan said, if you have questions throughout this, feel free to send them in the chat. We'll get to those at the end. For anybody joining now, we're getting started. Anybody that joins later, we'll have a recording that we'll send out to this. If you guys want to share it to people in your office or on your team that wasn't able to make it today. So just some introductions. I'm Koby Hastings, founder and CEO of Leadrilla. Next to me is Logan Jones.
Yep.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm our senior account executive. So a lot of you guys, if you've created an account on the platform, have gotten an introduction email from me. You might have emailed back and forth with me. Senior account executive here.
Yeah. So today we'll really be digging into our live transfer product. But just to kick this off, just in case you all are new to Leadrilla, you maybe haven't heard about us much, or you've been a user for a while, just to give you a background of our mission here at Leadrilla, why we created our company. We started about 3.5 years ago, and towards the end of 2018, and we just realized that independent life insurance agents is just a really underserved market when it comes to marketing and lead generation. There's a ton of great companies and service providers in the lead generation industry, but independent agents historically have never really had access to a lot of those service providers. So what Leadrilla is it's a platform that our number one goal is to put all of the control into the agent's hands. You guys are running your own business. And so when it comes to your leads and marketing and really your customer acquisition as a whole, you should have full control over that. And so that's what we try to do with the Leadrilla platform. We've done it for over 3 years, and we've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. And recently, over the past 6 to 9 months, we've been pretty heads down on our product, just building new things, improving our system, bringing in feedback from our current customers just to make it a really good platform. So that's the background of Leadrilla. Today, we'll go through our platform, give you a demo for that. But first, I think we should give out some lead credit.
I think we should. I know that's definitely what got some of your guys' attention. So we have $100 of lead credit we're going to be giving out here. So everyone, go ahead and get your hands ready. We're going to be giving this away through the chat here. So I think we should do it with a little trivia question. What do you think?
Trivia? I like it. I like it.
Okay, so
the Super Bowl just happened.
The Super Bowl did just happen. So how about a Super Bowl themed trivia question? The first person that can type in the chat, the winner of the Super Bowl gets $100 of lead credit. Wow, that was really quick.
Man.
Good Lord. Wow, okay.
Everybody's sending in. I got to scroll up to find the first one. All right, I got it. Josh Ritter.
Okay, our support team will be adding that lead credit directly to your account. So congratulations, Josh. Thanks, everyone, for participating in that. We do have another $100 of lead credit to give away, so don't leave too fast. We'll be doing that at the end. Yeah,
we'll do that at the end. Josh, our support team will reach out after this webinar today to get that in your account. I'm still a little sad that the Bengals didn't pull through. They're only an hour from us, but it's all good. It was a great game. So let's. You want to jump into the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Now we're going to do just kind of a live walkthrough of the platform and give you guys an idea of how to use everything, what everything means on the platform. And like I mentioned, if you guys have questions throughout any of this, throw those in the chat. We'll be sure to either answer those live as we go through this, or we'll answer them at the end. So as you guys can see here, we're now in the Leadrilla platform. And before we dive into kind of the meat of what we're going to be going over here, which is live transfer calls, I just want to call out a couple of different things on our platform and how you guys can go about getting leads and calls from us. So the first one I want to do before diving into those live transfers is just going over the marketplace real quick. So what the marketplace is the way on the Leadrilla platform where you can get aged and second chance leads from an existing lead inventory. So this is great if you need to supplement your real-time exclusive leads for a dial day, or you just have a little extra budget that you want to try and make use of. This is a good place to come to see what's available in your area and get a little bit cheaper of lead prices from our platform. So what you can do is you can go here, you can select the product you're looking for. So let's just say final expense, for example. We'll select the state. We'll say Texas, since we saw so many Texas people joining. And if you want, you can select a county. If not, you can just leave it at statewide. We'll see here that we've got a heat map kind of showing us where our inventory is located throughout that state. And then over here, you can see what we have available in that state. And then purchasing that is as simple as just going over here, typing in exactly what you want. So if I wanted all 117 of those, type that in, click add to cart. I can check out with that right then and there, and then all of those leads will be put directly into my leads page, and I can start working them right then and there. So that's a great way to get those aged leads if you guys are interested in working those. So now the next way to get leads from us is kind of where we just were, and this is kind of the core of our platform, and that's campaigns. So there are two different types of campaigns that you can set up on the Leadrilla platform. There's going to be campaigns to receive real-time exclusive leads, and then there's campaigns to receive live transfer calls. So just real quick, we'll go ahead and start setting up a new campaign here. The first thing you're going to be asked is, would I like to set up a campaign for real-time exclusive leads or live transfer calls? We'll get to live transfer calls here in just a second, but just want to give you guys an idea of what a real-time exclusive lead actually is, where it's coming from, what's going on the back end as well. So a real-time exclusive lead is going to be whenever a consumer interacts with an ad campaign, whether that's on Facebook, on Google search, whether they encounter one of our landing pages. They can submit their information. As soon as they click submit on that contact form, all of that information is coming to you instantly through our platform. So you get access to that information in real time. That's why we call it real time. In addition to that, that is exclusive to you, and that exclusivity is going to last for 21 days. Only way anything happens to that exclusivity is if a sale is not made on that lead. That's when it would go to the marketplace. And the way that our system knows that is through the My Leads page, where you can mark leads as sold as you sell them.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about the filters that happen.
Right.
These leads are in real time. The consumer hits submit on the form, requesting additional information for final expense or Medicare, whatever product it is. I'm sure we have life insurance and Medicare users joining here.
Yep.
So as soon as that consumer hits submit, you receive that lead within a few seconds, but there's a lot of things that happen in the back end. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and this is where our technology really kind of shines, is what happens after that consumer's actually submitted their information. So our system is actually going to block a lot of the leads that are generated because they have to go through a series of filters before we actually feel that it's a high enough quality lead to submit to one of our users. So it's going to go through a series of filters, a few of which are going to be things like detecting disconnected phone numbers. So we try to filter out as many disconnected phone numbers as we can so we're not wasting your guys' time dialing on numbers that don't even work. We filter for ad fraud, so we can see if a contact form has been filled out fraudulently. We can go through and just block that out completely. And then we also have a couple other data points that we will filter for, just trying to increase lead quality to be the best that it can be. Yep. So those are all different things that we do in real time before we even issue that lead out to you. And then the way this would work is you add funds to your account and you only get charged for the leads that you receive one by one. So it's a pay per lead basis once you add those funds to your account. So that's the real-time exclusive leads. Now, we're going to dive in and do a full demo of how to set up a campaign for live transfer calls. So we'll go ahead and dive into that now. So we'll hit live calls here. We'll click next. The first thing it's going to ask us is to select the product that we want to set up a live transfer campaign for. So as you can see here, we've got life insurance and Medicare. It'll be the same flow for whichever one you do. It'll just display different products for you. So for this example, we'll just stick with life insurance. Within life insurance, we have final expense live transfer calls. Those are going to be $60 per call. So we'll go ahead and select that. Click next. The next thing it's going to ask you to do is to select the state that you want these calls to come from. So calls are generated on a statewide basis. That's important to know. And these calls are meant to be sold and closed over the phone. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up these campaigns and choosing where you want to receive those calls from. So you can add as many states as you're licensed in to one of these campaigns. So let's just say, for example, since we're in Kentucky, we'll add Kentucky. We'll also add Texas since we have so many Texas users here too. So we'll clear that out. Type in Texas. And then you can add, we typically recommend adding at least 5 to receive, good, adequate volume in here. So we'll go through and just kind of click around, add a couple more that we're licensed in here. That looks like it'll be good for receiving some good volume.
Yeah, just to stop here too. So we recommend 5 states. So the more states you're licensed in and the more you can add to your live transfer campaign, the more volume you're going to receive. Now that doesn't prevent you if right now, if you're only licensed in one state, you can still set up a campaign for one state, but it's just not going to be as much volume. So you could have, periods throughout the day where you are getting consistent good volume, but the more states you have, the better to receive good volume. So
yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. We definitely want to make sure you guys are receiving the volume you need to run your business. So once you have all of your states configured where you want to receive these calls from, we'll go ahead and click next here. The platform will automatically pull in the cell phone number that you've associated with your account. So as you can see here, it's auto-populated the number that these calls are going to come from, but you can change this to whatever you want. So whether you have a Google Voice number, you have an office number, you can change the number that gets dialed on whenever a call comes into your account. So I'm going to leave it as my cell phone number. That way, if I'm out in the field working, I can turn these campaigns on and off and get live transfer calls to kind of fill in the gaps if I have some availability throughout the day. And that brings us to our next step, which is setting what your availability actually is to receive these calls. So the first step in this is going to be to select your time zone. That's going to calibrate the whole system to make sure that you're receiving calls in your time zone for the times that you set. So because Lexington is in the Eastern time zone, we'll go ahead and select Eastern time, and then we'll go through and select the days that we actually want to receive calls. So let's just say we want to work Monday through Friday. We can just turn all of these on. It's as simple as just toggling that on and off to choose my days that I want to receive calls on. And then from here, I can choose the times that I actually want to receive calls. So let's say I don't want to start work on Monday until 9 a.m. 7 a.m. is just a little bit too early for me on a Monday. And then I want to have a break for lunch right around 12. So I can scroll down here. I'll find that 12 o'clock hour, select that, and then you'll see this little blue plus button has popped up now. So now what I can do is add a block of time to give myself a little break in the middle of the day. So let's say I want to have an hour for lunch. So I'm going to pick it back up at 1. And then from there, I just want to be available to receive calls until 5. You can add as many time blocks throughout the day as you want. That's a good way to just kind of automate your availability. But just keep in mind, you always have the ability to turn your campaigns on and off if your availability changes for whatever reason. So we'll show you how to do that here in just a second. I'm not going to go through and change all the time for these other ones since I just kind of showed that here. But just know that you can add those different time blocks for each individual day just based off what your availability is on that day. So once you have all of that configured, we'll click this next button here. And the next step is to select the daily cap that you'd be all right with receiving throughout each of the days and your availability that you're setting. So you can set this daily cap anywhere from 5 all the way up to 100, anywhere in between. And it's important to know that this is just the maximum number of calls that you'd be willing to accept each day. This is no way an obligation for you to pay for this many calls. This is just telling our system, hey, for example, I'm okay with receiving 20 calls in a single day. That way it just knows how to calibrate the amount of volume that we're sending to your account. Then once we have that set, we'll click next. And the last step here is just to go through and review all the settings of that campaign that I've just set up here. So I can see my geography. I'm going to be getting calls from Kentucky, Texas, California, Arizona, and Florida. It's going to come to my cell phone. I just set up my availability, so I know what that is. Daily cap of 20, and I'm getting final expense live transfer calls at a price of $60 per call. So if that all looks good to me, the next step is just to simply click Launch Campaign. As soon as you click Launch Campaign, if your availability is set at that day and time, you're going to be eligible to begin receiving calls. So just to show you what that looks like, we'll click Launch Campaign here. It'll take me back to the campaigns page. It'll ask me to give this new campaign a name, so you can either leave it as this default here, or you can change it to a new name. We'll just leave it as a default for this demo. So we'll click Save. It'll then say, hey, save our number. This is the number that is going to ring on your phone every single time when you receive a live transfer from our platform. So we recommend saving that as Leadrilla Live Transfer. That way, as soon as you look at your phone, you see it's ringing, you know that you can answer that and hop on a call with an interested consumer. So we'll click out of that. And before I move on to this next thing with this demo, I just want to show you. So you can now see we've got the little green symbol, meaning my campaign is live. So if I want to pause this campaign, if I want to change this campaign in any way, it's as simple as clicking into that campaign like that. I'm going to pause for a second and get a little bit of water. Talking this much dries out your throat. You know how it goes. Anyway, so you can go through, and when you click into this campaign, you can see all of the details that are going to show you when the campaign's running. You can see that it's currently active up here. You can see the geography it's currently running in. And now you can go through and change any of the stuff that you need to if necessary. So if I wanted to, for example, go and change the geography that my campaign is currently running on, I can simply click Edit here. It'll take me right back to this where I can go through, and if I wanted to say remove, I don't want to remove Kentucky. Let's say I want to remove California, for example. I can click Confirm. Now my changes have been updated. I can launch my changes. So you can change your availability, the numbers dialing to, the states you're getting calls from, all of that good stuff. So
let's just to kind of set expectations. There's probably a lot of attendees on here that maybe have never worked live transfers. There's probably some that work them frequently, but just to give them an expectation of how these calls are generated. Mm-hmm. So what we have call centers that are dialing out to leads that are typically aged between 30 and 60 days. But these are consumers that have submitted a web form, interested in a final expense quote, or if it's for Medicare, interested in a Medicare, reviewing their Medicare options. So it's a digital lead that our call center reps are dialing out to. They get them on the line. The call center rep verifies all their information, make sure it's right, their name, their address, their date of birth. They make sure all that they have on file is accurate, and then they also make sure that they're still interested in that product. They make sure they want to speak to a local agent, and if they get past that filter criteria and they're qualified, then they transfer that call to Leadrilla, which is where Leadrilla software, when we receive that call in real time, we check all of our campaigns to see which agents have an active campaign at that time, and we route that out. We dial your phone number that you configure on there.
Yep. Yeah, and it's important to know that you always want to be answering the phone if you have your availability set and your campaign on and your phone rings. You don't get charged if you don't answer your phone, but try to minimize the amount of times that's happening. If you know you've got an appointment you're going into or you're taking a break for lunch, just make sure to pause that campaign. That way our platform isn't seeing your answer rates go down because that just causes problems for the platform as a whole.
Yeah, and we won't penalize you for missing calls, but if you do miss 3 in a row, we just know that they happen. I mean, you guys are busy. You may have a client call you and your campaign's on, so you're on the phone with them, and then a call comes in. So we don't penalize your volume, but what we do is if you miss 3 in a row, we do pause your campaign automatically, and we'll send you a text just to let you know. But you can always just hop back when you're ready. You hop back in the platform and just turn your campaign back on.
Yeah. And just to finish this out real quick, just to show you how easy it is to turn a campaign on and off, you need to click this pause button here, and you see it'll just toggle it on and off. One click, easy and painless. So like we said, we try to put as much of the control back in the hands of the agent. This is what we mean when we say that. We try to make it as simple and easy as possible for you to have full control over your lead and call flow. So that is how to set up a live transfer campaign on our platform. Now, just real quick before we quit sharing screen and move on to answering questions and giving away a little bit more lead credit here, I just want to dive into the built-in CRM on our platform that is free for all users to use when you're receiving leads from us. So anytime you receive leads, anytime you finish a call and mark a disposition on that call, all of those are going to be saved in your My Leads page. So this is what the My Leads page is going to look like when you begin receiving leads in it. Again, this is just a demo account, so I've got some Medicare Advantage leads, Medicare Supplement leads in here. It would look the same if it was for final expense or whatever the case may be. And then you can see I've got different statuses marked for all of these leads. So at a glance, I can see names, phone numbers, birth dates, the city that they're from. If I want to click in here, I can see all of that consumer's information as well as a full timeline of everything that has gone on with that lead since I've received it. So I can see when I received it. Our platform is going to send out an automated text message and email to that consumer, letting them know that I'm the agent that's going to be reaching out to them so that they can expect my call. I can also change status, add notes, just so I can keep myself as organized as possible when working leads and calls on the Leadrilla platform. So that should cover just about everything on our platform. We'll move on to answering some questions now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we'll get back to answering some questions.
Yeah, let me get them organized here. I have them marked.
All right, yeah, so Koby's been going through and taking note of questions in here, so we'll go through, we'll answer some of these, get to as many of them as possible.
So this one came in the beginning when we were going over lead campaigns. Connie asked, is the information they requested included in the lead purchase?
Yeah, so the information that they requested, so it's going to be very specific to the type of campaign you set up. So if it's a final expense lead, they're going to have responded to a final expense campaign or a final expense landing page in order to have become a lead in the first place. So while you don't necessarily get like the exact ad campaign it came from, you get all of that information that they submitted to a specific ad campaign for a specific policy of the campaign that you set up. So if it's final expense, it'll be a final expense campaign that they responded to. If it's, for example, Medicare Advantage, if you're in Medicare, it'd be specific to a Medicare Advantage policy.
Yeah,
so,
and the ad creatives are pretty general final expense. Typically, when they fall to a landing page, we educate them on what final expense is, but they could come in through a variety of platforms. So we run a lot of ads on Facebook, Google search. So if they're searching for life insurance policies and they fall in that 60 to 75 age range, those are consumers that will retarget with ads and creatives to teach them about final expense and drive intent, which gets them to fill out that form, and then we connect them with you, which connect them with the local agent.
Yep, absolutely. Good question.
See.
All right, what do we got next here?
Jerry asked, what type of leads are the age leads in the marketplace?
Yeah, so you can get all different types of leads that we generate for a real-time exclusive lead campaign. You can also find in the marketplace. So as you saw there when I just did a quick little demo there on the platform, you just select the product that you're looking for. So you can select anything from final expense, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, Spanish final expense. It's going to be all the same lead types that we generate in the real-time exclusive campaigns are also available on the marketplace. It's aged leads as well. Good question there.
Get the next one here. Okay. Sheila asked, when you're on a call, will you still receive leads? I'm thinking this is if you're on a live transfer call, will you still, if another one comes in at the same time, what happens there?
Good question here. So our system is going to know that you're on a call with a Leadrilla transfer. That's when it would not dial you. If you're on the phone with your grandma or whatever else, and it's not a Leadrilla transfer, our system's not able to see that. But if you're on another transfer from the Leadrilla system, it will recognize that and it won't dial you again. So you don't have to worry about going and pausing your campaign if you're on another transfer. If you're talking on the phone with somebody else that's not part of the Leadrilla transfer program, then you'll just need to go and pause that campaign.
All right, another one from Sheila. How many calls is reasonable per day?
Yeah, so that's going to be really dependent on how many states that you add to target and receive calls from. So like we mentioned, 5 is kind of what we recommend setting up for a live transfer campaign. But the more you set up, the more you're going to be able to receive. So it's very dependent on that. I know that's almost kind of a non-answer. But for example, if you were to only set up one state that you're targeting, you're not going to receive any more than 1 or 2 calls per day. Whereas if you set up around 15, then you're likely going to be able to receive all the way up to somewhere around 20 calls per day. So it's just very dependent on how many states you're licensed in, how many you can target to receive those calls from. So just kind of be mindful of that when setting up a campaign as well.
So next one, Scott asked reasonable expectation for closing percent. So I'll kind of cover this from the live transfer perspective. So typically what we see in terms of sale rate, like a policy, not an application, like issue paid, we typically see 12 to 18% close rate on calls. So what we like to do is we do look at sale rates and what that percentage is, but we really look at CPA, which is cost per acquisition or cost per sale. In your overall marketing leader call budget, what are you paying per sale? So at that 18% close rate, on a $60 call, you're looking at around a $330 CPA. And then if you get into, if your sale rate's dropping to 14, 13, 12%, then your cost per sale is typically in that like high 400 range. So if you're making more than that on your commissions, which most independent agents should be, it turns out to be a pretty good product to use. We do see some agents that will close in the 20 to 25% range. A lot of that comes down to experience, the scripts you're using, how you handle those calls. So we just encourage agents to try new things, communicate with other agents that you work with to get tips, and just test things really. At the end of the day, it just comes down to testing things. It's a numbers game. But once you find something that's working, stick to it and keep it going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see. Debbie asked, can I set up more than one contact number in order to receive transfer calls?
So if you're going to be wanting to receive transfer calls to different numbers, honestly, I'd recommend just setting up 2 different campaigns for that. You can change the number on each of the campaigns and then control those campaigns independently of each other. So for example, if you had, let's say, a business phone and then your cell phone, one campaign you wanted to operate when you're out in the field, one campaign you wanted to operate when you're in the office, I would just recommend setting up 2 campaigns for that. So you can just change the numbers that are on each of those campaigns and then control those campaigns independently of each other.
Okay, Desmond asked, do you have a buffer time to screen the call before being billed? If so, how long do you have? You may have answered that already. Okay, we may have answered, but he hadn't heard it yet. So yeah, the buffer time.
Yeah. So with buffer time, with our live transfer campaigns, ours are going to be charged on Connect, but we do have a bunch of different credit policies where if the consumer tells the rep that they're not interested, they still get transferred for whatever reason. That's going to qualify for credit. And there's a couple others as well. So just reach out to us if you receive a call that you feel like you shouldn't have been billed for. That's what our support team is there for in the first place. So just reach out to us if you receive a call that you feel like you should get a credit for, and that's what our support team is here for.
Yeah, and really the basis behind that and why we operate that way is when we started our call platform in the beginning, it was kind of in a beta test period. That we didn't do much marketing around it. We had a small group of agents using it, and we had a buffer on there. And what we found is that it just rushed the consumer. A lot of agents would get on in the first 30 seconds, they're saying, "Hey, Betty, I just want to make sure you want to buy a life insurance policy today. Is that right?" And Betty's like, "Whoa, I mean, you just called me. I'm definitely interested in receiving a quote." But so it rushed the consumer and kind of limited the quality of the calls. And we just, us being marketers, we want to make sure the consumer is having a really good experience. And so that's the reasoning behind that. We're more than willing to give credits when you have calls that, they last 30 seconds or 45 seconds and they clearly weren't interested in a quote. Those will get through and you will receive those. But all you have to do is send us a message. We have live chat. You can send us a message to our support. Our average response time is like 2 or 3 minutes. They're pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
But we give credits for those. So we're here to help you guys and make sure you're successful.
Absolutely.
Let's see. That's all I have marked. I know there's some more in here.
Yeah, it looks like there's some towards the bottom that people have been sending kind of as we've been talking.
Okay, Lee asked, are we able to export leads as an example to Phone Burner so we can continue attempts to contact?
Yeah, so you can export your leads. So through that My Leads page that I showed you, there's a single button up there at the top that just has a little CSV symbol on it. All you have to do is just click that. It'll export all of your leads in a CSV file with all of their information. You can upload that to Phone Burner. You can upload that to a different CRM. And then we even have what's called a Zapier API link. So if you wanted to and you had a different CRM you prefer to use, we can actually push our leads to a completely different CRM in real time so that you can continue working with the CRM that you're used to.
Yeah, and in Lee's question, he mentioned Phone Burner. I'm pretty sure they have their own integration with Zapier too. So Leadrilla has a Zapier connection, and so does Phone Burner. So you can make those automated really easily. Let's see.
All good questions here, guys. I see somebody, I'll just answer this one real quick. It says, what contact info is included in the CSV file? It's going to be all the info that they submit whenever they enter in their information to become a lead in the first place. So name, email, home address, birth date, and phone number.
Here's a good one. Juan asked, what is the difference between running your own campaign and buying an exclusive lead one day old?
So running your own campaign, I'm not exactly sure.
I think what Juan's asking is what's the difference in setting up a real-time exclusive campaign versus going to the marketplace and buying a lead that is one day old. So first in the marketplace, and I think Juan's asking because the 0 to 30-day tier in the marketplace is, I think it's $8 or around that price. So it's cheaper than the $15 final expense. So the difference is, one, the marketplace doesn't have that much volume in the 0 to 30-day range, and it's not real time. So you're going in there each day to see what volume is there. If there's inventory there, I encourage you to buy it because it's a new lead that hasn't been worked. But with the campaigns, you're basically setting up an ongoing campaign, and you're saying, I want up to 10 leads in real time. When the consumer hits submit, we're giving you that lead within seconds of them filling out the form. We're also sending a text message to the consumer. So right when they hit submit, they hit Leadrilla software. We put them through a filter process, and then we send a text to the consumer and say, hey, Sally, Juan is your agent. He's going to be reaching out soon. And then we also send you a text that you have a new lead so you can reach out to them instantly right after they filled out the form. So that's the difference in marketplace buying a lead that's very fresh in there versus the campaign, which is instant, real time. Let's see. David asked if we have annuity leads. We do not have annuity leads at the moment. Keep checking back, David. Let's see. If we edit a FE campaign. Here's a good one. So Caleb asked, if we edit a final expense campaign, for example, switch it from Fort Worth to Dallas and change it from a 15-mile radius to a 30, is that going to slow down leads?
Geez, this is like a test question. There's a lot of variables in this question. No, I'm just kidding. That's a good question, actually. So that's going to make the change in our platform pretty much automatically. That shouldn't slow anything down for you unless you're just reducing the area that you're targeting substantially. That's the only time I'd really expect it to slow down volume any. But everything else, our platform is all running on an automated basis. It's all built on really solid code. So that's all just going to make a switch automatically. It shouldn't disrupt your lead flow too badly.
Okay, I got a few here. Lee asked, do we pre-fund campaigns or is our card charged each time? And if it's pre-funded, at what point are we notified that funds are running low? That's a good question.
Yeah, this is a really good question. We built a feature specifically for this. So you pre-fund your account. So you'd essentially say, so for example, with setting up a real-time exclusive lead campaign, the minimum on that campaign is going to be a one-time minimum of 20 leads. So you would essentially add funds to your account for 20 leads, and then you only actually pay for those leads. Those funds only come out of your account when you actually receive those leads. So you add those funds to your account as leads are generated and sent to you. That's when the funds come out of your account. From there, we actually have a really nice feature called the auto charge feature, and you're in full control of that. If you want to turn it off, that's completely fine. But you can say, okay, whenever my account balance drops below $100, please add an extra $300 back to my account. That way, there's no disruption with your campaign. It continues running on an automated basis, and you don't have to keep checking back in to add funds over and over and over again. So you can either add funds manually, that's perfectly fine. But if you are happy with the way the campaign's running and you just want it to keep on running on an automated basis, you can just tell our system how much in funds to add back to your account whenever it dips below a set amount.
Yeah.
And that's all found in the billing page of the platform.
We have a few more here. We're coming up close on time, so we'll answer a few more that are in here. If you all have others, feel free to send them now. We'll try to get to them, but we'll answer a few more. Then we'll give out some more lead credit, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So let's go to the next one. Judy asked, we may have already answered this, but do the leads come from Facebook or other internet platforms? We can cover that again.
Yeah, so just real quick, we use a couple different platforms just to kind of diversify where leads are coming from. So leads are going to come from kind of one of three different sources. They're either going to come from Facebook ad campaigns, Google search campaigns, or landing pages where consumers can come to find more information about a particular policy. That's where they would encounter that contact form. And once they fill out that contact form and submit that, that's when that real-time lead is generated and sent to you through our platform.
All right, Fernando asked, are live transfers exclusive, not put back on the marketplace after some time like the other leads?
Right, yeah, that's a good question. So whenever you work a live transfer and you're done with it and that's going to get added to your My Leads page, that's not going to go on the marketplace. That is exclusive to you, and that's not ever going to go back on the marketplace as a lead or anything like that. So
yep.
Yeah, good question there.
Yeah, live transfers are only connected to one agent. You talk to them, they're yours forever. In the CRM, after you have a live transfer, you can always log in and go look at that specific call, and there will be a call recording from when you took that live transfer. So if you had, a 15, 20-minute call, you're going to follow up a week later, you can go back into the CRM and listen to that call that you had with that consumer just to refresh your memory before you go into that appointment or whatever that follow-up is. Okay. Sonia asked, with your campaign set up, how are the leads prioritized to who gets the leads that when there's multiple campaigns in one area? That's a good question.
Yeah, very good question. So we just operate on a round robin system. So if we have multiple agents in an area, our system accounts for that demand. It'll increase the supply by just simply increasing our ad spend to make sure that we have enough leads to go around for everybody. And then it'll simply assign those leads on a round robin basis. So we just increase the amount of leads that we're generating if we have a lot of people in an area, and then assign them on a round robin basis. So we're not prioritizing one person over the other. It's just if you've received a lead, it'll move on to the next, the next, the next, the next, until it gets back to you and it's your turn to receive a lead again.
Good. All right, we got one more. Fernando asked, since we just mentioned the recording, does it record the whole call or just when you transfer it?
So it's just going to be when the transfer comes to you. So that's when the recording will start that you'll be able to listen to on the My Leads page. We are able to go back and listen on our side if we need to listen to, is there any issues on our end? We can do that. But for your call, you'll just be able to hear the conversation that you had with that consumer.
Awesome. Well, we'll wrap up the Q&A session. If you guys have any more questions, just our support team is always here. There's several ways to reach out to us. We have live chat on our platform, so you can send a message there. We're typically on there from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So if you message us within those hours, you'll get a response pretty quick. If it's after hours, our team will get to it as soon as they get into the office. We also have an email support line, so hello@leadrilla.com. If you want to reach out to us via email. If you want to talk to one of our account executives, just send us a chat there or an email and just request a call. We can get a call scheduled with you to help you out, whatever you need.
Yeah, and then of course I wouldn't be a good senior account executive if I didn't mention that we do have an enterprise set up for agencies. So if there's any agency owners or if you think your agency would be a good fit for it, we can essentially just equip all of the agents with a Leadrilla platform, with a Leadrilla account, and then connect all of the data, disposition data, back to a single agency account so that you can get full transparency of how the leads and calls are performing for your agency. So just wanted to throw that out there.
That's good. Doing his job. Trained well.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's give away a little bit more lead credit, and then we'll let everyone get back to their day.
Yeah.
I already see everyone.
We planned the Super Bowl question, but we didn't plan one for the end. So
what do we want to do here?
Let's see. I don't know. I mean, maybe let's do this. So grammar has to be accurate, and I'm going to be specific in how I say, like, in how you have to type it out. Somebody wrote, the Leadrilla Gorilla. All right, so in all caps with proper grammar, has to be spelled right. Put in the chat, all caps, I love leads.
That first one was misspelled, I think. Wow. That's a lot of I love leads. God.
All right, the first one that was spelled correctly in all caps was Patrick. So Patrick, we will we'll reach out to you and get you that $100 of lead credit. Yeah.
Those typing classes in high school paid off for Patrick. He typed that so fast.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. This is something we'll be doing occasionally, so just keep an eye out for emails when we do these live webinars. We'll typically do them when we have new products to launch, new features in the platform. When we do tips and tricks for agents on how they can be successful with leads and calls, whether they're buying it from us or buying it from another vendor. So we're here to help. Again, our live chat's on our website. Feel free to send us a message there anytime.
Yep. And we'll also be sending out the recording of this. So if you want to send it out to your team, to your colleagues, there will be a link sent out if you attended this, if you were even registered for it. So I guess I'm talking to people who aren't even here too. But we will have that recording out shortly after we wrap this up. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you all.